Testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. 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 1, 2, 3, testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. 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 1, 2, 3, testing. Testing. Okay, we're good. everybody, SonGoshuaku live here for my review of WWE WrestleMania 42 Sunday, aka Night 2. And man, I have got to be honest, if you're thinking that Night 1 was better, I totally respect your opinion. But when it comes to me, heck no! Night 2 to me absolutely destroyed Night 1. And we're going to go ahead and talk about it for WrestleMania Sunday. So things kicked off with John Cena coming out and he calls Night 1 an incredible night. Yeah, if you all saw the feedback, a lot of fans did not think it. In fact, I'm probably one of the few fans that actually thought Night 1 was pretty decent. You know, I thought it was decent, solid, okay. But we're going to talk about the greatness of WrestleMania 42, which is what Night 2 was indeed. Hold on. Technical difficulties here. I had to make sure I got my my voice monitoring already. So, okay. I think we're all good to go here now. All right, so let's go to the next part. All right, so we're going to kick things right off on the first match. By the way, with John Cena and all, he's doing his thing. You know, he's the company guy and everything, an ambassador. So, of course, he's one of hype Night 1. But, yeah, I don't think a lot of the fans felt it was incredible. However, the word incredible, I definitely think fits WrestleMania Sunday for WrestleMania 42. All right, that being said, we kick things off with the very first match, Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar. Coming into this, man, honestly, this whole match was probably the best, and I mean the absolute best match that was built up for WrestleMania 42. They put Oba Femi over as dominant as possible, and Brock Lesnar, you saw hearing things where when Oba was stepping on his chest, he's like, you know, step on me, really sell it, really make Oba look like the big deal. So there was a big fight feel and everything going on here for the whole fight. There was such a big fight field coming out during Oba as he's strutting, and man, you just see all the entire audience basically strutting and everything, and then Brock Lesnar comes out, you know, as always, one of the most hyped entrants, you know, when he comes out and he's like, oh, you know, and the fireworks go off. And one of the things that I thought was really cool about this match when it came down to it is that they do the teletape, and the way they got Oba Femi showing, they're showing Oba Femi doing the strut. He's like doing it like it perfectly matches up with Brock Lesnar's theme song. And all that stuff. But yeah, this match right here, though, it starts off with a collar and elbow tie-up, something we haven't seen a lot in Brock Lesnar's match in a long time. And man, this is old school pro wrestling right here. You go back to 1980s when you had the big muscle powerhouses basically starting off who's gonna win with a test of strength and everything. You know, I do love that match with Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan back then. There was a lot of that going on in that match. So eventually Brock Lesnar, he picks him up and puts Oba Femi in the corner, you know, just snatches up Oba Femi and just puts him there and just starts doing those shoulder thrusts back and forth and everything, which has been a staple of Brock Lesnar's entire WWE career, going back to the Ruthless Aggression era when he first debuted in 2002. And from there, when he puts him in the corner and he's done, he gets up and Oba, he just tanks it. He shrugs that stuff off. He no sells it and he goes like, oh, and I'm like, whoa. And Brock's like, oh, because nobody has ever tanked Brock Lesnar's offense like that. And so basically from there, you know, he's just no selling and looking like a beast to, hey, the guy who's been shown to be the beast of WWE. So from here, Brock Lesnar, he tries clotheslining Oba Femi about 2 or 3 times with no effect at all. No effect. Once again, Oba just tanking it like, what you got? And basically from there, he ends up clotheslining Brock Lesnar down with, and it's a massive clothesline. Brock Lesnar, I've always put him over as one of the absolute best sellers in WWE. And I'm just looking at this, man, and Brock Lesnar's getting frustrated over here. And so by this point in the match, it is actually going on longer by this point, I think, usually than what you get for some of these Brock Lesnar matches. Because, you know, I was just so afraid going into this match, Brock's just going to come in, do a few German suplexes, F5, make Brock Lesnar look strong, and then that's it. And thus they've killed the chance of having Oba Femi have a big WrestleMania defining moment. But that wasn't the case here. So right here, Brock, you know, he's getting frustrated, and he takes Oba Femi out in the match, and he's throwing him into the steel steel steps and everything and stuff like that, and then into the into the post and all that stuff. Yeah, he's throwing them into like the post and all that stuff. And from there, the ring post, and this is where it looks like, okay, Brock's about to get his heat back. He throws Oba in the ring, and he starts going back and doing German suplexes. So he's taking him to Suplex City a few times and everything. And this is where you're like, okay, is this just this is nearing the end here, and it's not going to end well for Oba Femi. You're just hoping, right? If you want to see, him become a big star and everything. So it's from there that Brock Lesnar, what is it? He does, so after the German suplexes, Brock Lesnar goes ahead and gets Oba Femi up, and he does the F5. And I'm thinking here, okay, he's going to kick out. This is a massive moment, kick out. But honestly, they do something that I would say is more shocking than kicking out. As Brock Lesnar's kind of turning, Oba Femi just gets right on up, and Brock Lesnar turns around, and Oba once again has tanked the F5. This man has tanked all of Brock Lesnar's whole entire offense. And so from right there, Oba Femi actually goes ahead and takes his neck, puts the vice grip on Brock Lesnar's neck, and he choke slams Brock Lesnar. And then from there, he delivers the fall from grace sit down power bomb to Brock Lesnar and gets the 1, 2, 3, and the entire audience comes unglued. I got out of my face like, woo! Yes, let's go. I was like, this is the way we do it. Let's go. I don't really curse all that much, like even when I'm getting riled up like that and everything at all and stuff, unless I'm in character. But I was like, texting all my friends like, let's F-N go. Man, this was awesome. This is a star-making, superstar defining moment for Oba Femi. This is how you do it. Oba Femi looked like an absolute beast. Match didn't go that long. I think it went less than 5 minutes, so about the same length as the Brock Lesnar and Goldberg match that I attended back at WrestleMania 33. But overall, man, Oba looked fantastic. They made him look about as dominant and as strong as you could possibly make someone do, and that's exactly what they did. So this was fantastic. Really love seeing it. Man, this is how you do it, because when you really think about it, Brock Lesnar, I think, is about the same age that Hulk Hogan was, and this is what they did back then, 2002. I was a preteen at the time, and Hogan was that established longtime veteran, and Brock Lesnar, he put Brock Lesnar over big time. Had literally, I think they call it squeezing the life out of Hulkamania. That's what they called it, because he had Hogan bleeding and coughing up blood, and that was the end of Hogan until about 2003. And man, that put Brock Lesnar over as a big deal. And you look how much mileage they got out of that, having not had Hogan put over Brock Lesnar. Who knows what his career could have looked like if they were going to push him that stronger. But man, it made to the audience to realize that Brock is a force to be reckoned with. And look at it, they got almost 25 years of mileage out of Brock Lesnar, all the way here to 2026. So now Brock's that age, and you have him go up against Oba Femi and put the young guy over. Was Brock now in that Hulk Hogan position, and Oba now in the young Brock Lesnar position on the rise up. So it was a great passing of the torch moment and everything. Would have loved if the match was a little bit longer, but for what it did all the right things. Like I told my friends this when I was chatting with them in a group chat, and I was saying that everything about this was fantastic, from the build up to the match itself, in terms of making every move matter. Everything they did in this mattered. Even if it was short, it still all mattered. Right to the finish, and you had Oba Femi win clean as a whistle. And I was saying that this is going to be the trajectory. This is the trajectory of what this is going to be in terms of Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi. How this match goes is going to really put people in a sour mood for the rest of the night, or it's going to get them off going. And man, yeah, this match delivered. I actually thought this was better than almost anything, pretty much anything we got maybe on WrestleMania Night 1. Granted, that Gunther and Seth Rollins match was really awesome, but I was like, man, this was top tier. I'm pretty sure I'm going to rank this highly when I rank the matches either later on today, since it's now Monday, or tomorrow on Tuesday. Yeah, this is great. And then the big other talking point of this match is you get Brock Lesnar at the end. He gets emotional and he takes off his gloves, he takes off his boots, which usually is the signal that the wrestler doing that is going to retire. And wow, it was really hard to process this because it came out of nowhere and I wasn't sure, because you're looking at Minneapolis, Minnesota is where they're having the what match is that? They're going to be having SummerSlam there. And a lot of people were thinking, oh, maybe they're going to have Gunther retire Brock Lesnar, because Gunther already said to Paul Heyman, you owe me a favor. And so I wasn't really sure whether to buy it. I thought maybe Gunther was going to come on out and choke him, put him to sleep with the sleeper, and we may not see Brock again until SummerSlam. Of course, Brock Lesnar, they always like to build him from Minneapolis, Minnesota, because that's where I think he played college football. He played college I think he played football there as well, but he also wrestled in college there, NCAA, I think, and stuff like that. I guess we'll wait and see what this all means. But for him to do this, maybe this is his way of wanting to say goodbye, but because maybe, hey, they're going to have him go out in a much more dramatic, over the top fashion, basically, where he gets maybe beaten to a bloody pope or something, or just downright gets destroyed by Gunther, and that's his sunset. So this is kind of his way to wave to the fans and say goodbye and acknowledge them and all that stuff. So we'll see. We'll see and everything. But overall, if this is the end of Brock Lesnar's WWE career, it is one of the most fantastic careers in WWE. Brock Lesnar, just focusing purely on him as an athlete. He from the moment he came in WWE, Brock Lesnar was just this amazing. He had all this big muscles about him. He was a super heavyweight, but then he's a heavyweight. I don't know if we're going to call him super heavyweight. He wasn't like Mark Henry or the Big Show or anything like that, but he was a heavyweight nonetheless. And for his heavyweight size, man, he had the power, the speed, just a freak athlete. And you see that even now, man, just still an athlete at almost 50 years old. So yeah, fantastic, man. I can't say enough good things about this. Heyman and Brock Lesnar were embracing in the ring. So yeah, this is cool. This is one of those defining career moments and everything. So for sure. All right, before we get to I got to remember to go ahead and change the graphics to here. Yeah, that's Brock Lesnar right there during the retirement when he was doing that and things like that and stuff like that. So you see him like basically leaving on. So yeah, man, an incredible run there. All right, before we get going, let's check on to the chat. Paul Clown Levesque. All right, I will assume by your name you are no fan of Paul Levesque, Triple H and everything. I know Triple H did his thing tonight in terms of booking WrestleMania 42 night 2 and stuff like that. Night 1 definitely, I thought, left quite a bit to be desired. It was good, but it wasn't, I thought, levels of greatness, which is what, like I said, WrestleMania 42 night 2 gave us. But you said new era, and breaking news, Ryan Allen Reeves is All Elite. So another wrestler who's gone to AEW. I don't know if I'm really too familiar with him, because kind of nowadays I'm so busy I mostly follow WWE, but hey, man, if he got the chance to go to AEW, glad for him, because man, shoot, you can get him on AEW, WWE. That definitely raises your profile to a national audience. And then my boy, the man 0001, glad you could join the chat, man. I love you to give your live perspective here and everything. Yeah, the man 0001 was in attendance both nights for WrestleMania, night 1 and night 2. He says, well, Brock Lesnar's career is belly up and deleted. Yeah, he's no longer a fan of Brock Lesnar, so he is glad to see Brock Lesnar and all that stuff. In terms of his in-ring work, though, and stuff, like I said, I've always been a big fan of Brock Lesnar as far as what he can do into that ring and stuff like that and everything. So yeah, and UFC and what he's done for sports and all that stuff. But man 0001, not a fan of Brock Lesnar, so hey, he got what he wanted to see. Brock is out of here and gone. Triple H got shook up, LOL. I've been hearing and some of the family I was watching WrestleMania with and everything, they had their suspicion that maybe they saw the feedback to night 1 and said, we need to really make sure we got our stuff together for night 2. So man, hey, if that's what happened, it definitely produced us a lot better stuff. He also says, but I am thankful for him conquering John Cena, though. So that's man 01 say he might not like Brock Lesnar that much anymore, but he don't dislike him that much that he's like, okay, John Cena though, like there you go. Like, yeah, you got no shortage of Brock Lesnar destroying John Cena throughout the last quarter century, man 0001. So I can see that you're happy about that. All right, we're gonna move on to the next match here. All right, second match was the WWE Intercontinental Championship ladder match. JD McDonagh versus Dragon Lee versus Rusev versus Javon Evans versus Rey Mysterio versus Penta. All right, so this is also part of the second match they were having air on the ESPN channel, so this was free for anyone who had cable to basically be able to watch, and these were a great selection of matches because I feel like Brock Lesnar and Oba brought that whole intensity where you're like, oh snap, and Brock Lesnar is well known, you know, he's one of the most biggest mainstream stars to ever be in WWE, just because I think of like his UFC run, and he was popular for his day in WWE as well. And then you put this match out here, this is going to wow a lot of casual fans who aren't familiar maybe with WWE, or they want to see what today's athletes like, because this match certainly showed that as great as Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels was at WrestleMania 10, the superstars have taken it to a different level. I like this match a lot. So a lot of the highlights were in this moment. So here's some of the highlights that I was able to jot down as far as my review goes, and things like that. Man, 0001 also says, man, I can't believe Rusev lost on Rusev Day. Shake my head. Yeah, there was a lot of Rusev chants going on in this match. And speaking of Rusev, man, he does this this backdrop to JD McDonagh where he ends up falling on the edge of the ladder. It looked brutal. Like, oh man, me grabbing my back. And there's a cool part where Rey Mysterio gets a 619, and I forget who it was against, but their face was like, these ladder matches have so much going on, it's hard to keep the track in my notes, so I'm doing my best I can. But their face was like all in between the ring ropes and the ladder, so I thought that was cool, man. You know, a lot of people were concerned Rey Mysterio, he's over 50 years old now, and you're gonna put him in a ladder match, and he looked good, man. Phenomenal how Rey Mysterio was able to constantly defy the clock of time and everything. Javon Evans was just absolutely incredible. I can imagine, man, 0001 in the chat, man, it must have been amazing to see him flying all over the ring in person and stuff. And he says, yeah, he was at both Shawn Michaels and he was at both Shawn versus Razor and this one too. Yeah, man, nice. You have witnessed the first and last WrestleMania and most recent matches, ladder matches at WrestleMania, man. Of course, you've been to a lot of them. Yeah, man, 0001's a big veteran. He's been going to these WrestleManias since WrestleMania 9 and everything, so he's been to quite a few of them. And now, as far as the match though, at one point in the match, Javon Evans, good gosh, man, this guy, he's jumping, yeah, he's like all over the match, getting so much airtime, jumping over the ring to one of the opponents outside was insane. Like the amount of airtime he got from the middle of the ring, through the ropes and then into the aisleway, that long aisleway they have for the ramp, man, gosh, it was crazy. At one point in the match, he jumps up to the top rope and propels himself all the way to the height of the top of the ladder in the middle of the ring in midair and is able to do a clothesline to JD McDonagh, and they both go crashing to the mat. Insane height, insane athleticism. I was like, whoa, I was blown away. And man, I've seen a lot of ladder matches. You know, as good as Razor and Shawn was back then, we all know WrestleMania 17, my all-time favorite WrestleMania, as I know it is for a lot of longtime wrestling fans who have been watching at least since the 90s or 2000s, man, will know that TLC 2 match is still a classic to this day. I think my brother also told me like that's his all-time favorite match and stuff. We grew up watching all that stuff, and he had it Era together and everything. So yeah, man, at one point in this match, what we get here, yeah, there's another crazy highlight where he does an Irish whip, where Penta, I think he does an Irish whip to Rey Mysterio, and when Rey Mysterio comes running back, you know, from the ropes to Penta just basically picks up Rey and throws him in the air over his head, and Rey goes flying over Penta's head over the top of the rope onto Rusev and ends up crashing through Rusev, and they both end up crashing through the ladder that is outside of the ring, basically lodged between the announce table and the ring apron, and both go through the ladder, breaking it in half, and it gets a holy SHIT chant out from the audience, man. Insane. Other highlights include Rusev looking like an absolute beast at one point, slamming Javon Evans hard onto one of those steel ladders. Like, and that's what's really good. Everybody shined in this match. Rusev didn't do any like the big athletic stuff off the the top of the ladder. He was just there to basically slam everybody around on ladders, and that's good. You need a good balance and stuff in this match, and I'm so glad, because if you've ever heard, that was apparently one of Rusev's biggest reasons for wanting to come to WWE, because he wanted just to work more. He wanted to wrestle, and he wasn't getting that in AEW. And his wife CJ Perry said she was almost, I think, cried hearing the news he was going to make the WrestleMania card. And I mean, between Monday and this match, they really made Rusev look like an absolute beast. And I hope this is the beginning of them doing more with Rusev. You know, I was always a fan of Rusev and everything. So yeah, even now he said he doesn't want to go back to being the Rusev character. He wants to instead actually go on and become just be this more ruthless character and everything, and more serious and stuff. There is a cool moment where Rey Mysterio jumps off the top of the ladder to Dragon Lee for a jumping Hurricane Rana, but gets caught into a Styles clash as Dragon Lee pays tribute to the newly WWE Hall of Famer AJ Styles. That was phenomenal. Yes, pun intended. So from the top of the ladder, JD McDonagh at one point, he does a Spanish fly to Dragon Lee, which gets a huge "this is awesome" chant from the audience. Penta, he does a Mexican destroyer from the top of the ladder to JD McDonagh onto another ladder that's wedged in between the same ladder and the turnbuckle post. Man, just good stuff here. And at one point, Rusev, he ends up knocking Javon Evans off the ladder, but is having a hard time climbing it because he's selling the effects of his leg. And right when he reaches the top of the title, Javon Evans comes out of nowhere and basically jumps off the top rope into the middle of the ring area where the ladder is, and yanks him off the ladder with an OG cutter, with once again some serious distance and some serious hang time. Javon Evans, man, fantastic stuff. And the dude's only 21 years old, man. It's crazy, man. He is that good. From here, Penta hits a Mexican destroyer off the ladder to Javon Evans, and then climbs up and grabs the Intercontinental title, retaining it. Man, it would have been awesome for me if Javon Evans won, but I'm happy for Penta as well. I'm happy he got his big WrestleMania moment. Javon Evans is 21 years old, so he still has a long career ahead of him, as long as he's able to, make sure that, he stays on the right path and, in his personal life, and make sure that he stays, healthy enough and everything. The sky's the limit for this guy. Literally, I mean, look how high he gets into the sky, right? And besides, one of the things too, a big complaint, and we often say this is, and I'm not a fan of it myself, is when they put the title on somebody and then shortly after take the title off of them. So I'm glad they're not doing any hot potato situation here with the championship. So Penta just won the Intercontinental title, and he got a big win, and the fact that he was the one that made this match and called these guys out to, or be a part of this match, or open them up to be a part of match in one, makes Penta look even more great as an Intercontinental champion. And man, by this point, I'm like, by this point, I'm thinking that if they want, we don't need night one highlight reel. Oh, okay, that's later on. I'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, this match was fantastic. And I'm like 2 matches in, and we already cooking more on night 2 than night 1. The man 0001, actually, he had told me he felt that night 2 was taking a big number 2 all over night 1. Let's see. He also says Rey Mysterio will keep going, LOL. Hey, man, he at that age, if you can still go to that level, I don't blame him, he wants to get the most out of his wrestling career that he can, because I don't think we're going to see Rey Mysterio at 70-something years old or 80 years old being able to still do this. So, yeah, man, take advantage of what you can and stuff like that. So, yeah, that was fantastic. Before we get to the next match, I put here in the notes, and I didn't really talk about this much on night 1. So I'm like, we don't need to see this night 1 highlight reel again. Let's start the next part of the show. If they want to show highlights of night 1, why didn't they do it on ESPN channel when more people were watching? At this point, everyone who's watching on ESPN Plus has already paid, or if you're like me, your internet provider gives it to you for free. Either way, we know what happened last night. Let's keep it moving, because the more they stall for time, the more it's going to be looking unjustifiable that Io Sky versus Asuka didn't make this card. At least that's how I'm feeling. So yeah, that's what I actually text out to my buddies as we were watching this, because it's like dawning, man. It's dawning because I saw the stats. Despite WrestleMania Night 1 being almost like a 4-hour show, there was only like 80 minutes of wrestling and stuff like that. And they had so many advertisements and all that stuff. And I get the advertisement, that, you know, I understand, especially as a content creator, you know, hey, when the sponsorship money comes, hey, man, that's some big money. So I don't fault WWE for doing that at all. But what's up with the structure here? Like, we used to watch 4-hour WrestleMania shows that had 16 matches. One of the greatest WrestleManias of all time is 4 hours long. WrestleMania 17, they stuck a whole bunch of matches on there. Some were short, some matches were a little bit longer, but they got all 16 on there. And then I'm thinking like, wow, you could fit more. Surely, you know, Asuka and Io Sky you could put on there. But hey, you know what? They had a hard time selling those tickets at WrestleMania, so they really probably needed to make sure they go overboard as much as they possibly could. I mean, even if it was overboard, they had to go all out on the sponsorships and ads and stuff. But I just thought that was counterproductive, because it's like, I understand wanting to show and they would run down the entire card. Do that when you're on the first hour, when you're being seen on the ESPN channel, for all the new fans that are coming back or new fans who are being exposed for the first time, so they can see like, okay, this is the incentive for wanting to come back and watch the show. But with this, it's like, why are you showing this on ESPN Plus? Like, why are we watching 10, 15 minutes of running down what happened on night 1 and talking about what's coming on night 2? It's like, yeah, everybody who's watching, they've been sold. We're literally on the ESPN Plus Unlimited because we are sold. We know the cards. We know what happened because we wanted to see. We wouldn't be here if we didn't want to see it. So it's like, why are they doing this with their audience? And it became very clear that, man, they just want to stall for time and everything. So there was a lot of this. But as a content creator, it does give me time to catch up on my notes and all that stuff and everything. Let's go to chat before we go to our next match. Man, 0001 says night 2 is like DBZ, Dragon Ball Z. Okay, he says night 2 is like Dragon Ball Z, and night 1 was like Dragon Ball GT. Yeah, you know what? I think I can agree with that. Yep. You know, Dragon Ball Z ain't perfect, but boy, does it have some epic moments, just like Night 2 had some epic moments. DBGT, like I said, I like GT, but nowhere near as like DBZ or OG Dragon Ball. And there were some good things on Night 1, but yeah, a lot of it kind of fell short of the glory compared to what we get in Night 2. So, you know what? I gotta say, yeah, that's a pretty nice analogy, and everything. But I think we can agree, Night 1 is definitely no Dragon Ball Evolution. That is for sure. Because, like I said, Night 1 was still solid and okay. I left the stadium with the daylight still outside. Yeah, I saw that during the post shows. The daylight was still out there and everything. So yeah, it was nighttime over here. Oh, what's up, Notorious Heels podcast, man? What's up? Been listening to y'all on Spotify and everything and things like that. I'm gonna be checking out you all's Night 2 review soon and everything on there, and everything. Yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Notorious Heels podcast, man, good folks that know their pro wrestling, man. Yeah, it's good to see. Hope all is well and everything. Looking forward to hear what you all had to say about Night 2. Thanks for joining the chat, man. It's always a pleasure to see you. And now we're gonna move on to our next match. Man, I don't know how to do Trick Williams scream. What's his yell? Woo! Hey! Or is it something like that? Oh yeah, I don't know. What is that? But yeah, whoop that trick. All right, so the third match was for the WWE United States Championship. Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams. All right, so Sami Zayn comes out to a tremendous amount of boos. Trick Williams comes out with Little Yachty as his hype man, and the entire audience in Allegiant Stadium is yelling, "Whoop that trick! Whoop that trick! Yeah, I like it." Man, we need Booker T on commentary. Sometimes I wish they just throw Booker T already out there just for Trick Williams and just to call Trick Williams and Stephanie Vaquera's matches and stuff and everything. But yeah, Trick Williams comes out and man, he definitely sounded like an over AF superstar. Shout out to the man 0001. Basically, he shared footage with our friends of just the whole crowd going crazy. And so this man comes out with a coat. Yeah, this was insane. This man came out with a coat that was as long as as the entire massive ramp. Like, wow. Like, I don't know how long it took to put all that together. There's a funny meme online if you guys saw somebody like Photoshop or AI a CVS receipt all over there on the shot that showed Trick Williams with the long back. That was hilarious, man. That was good. And Sami Zayn, man, he got a lot of boos to this and everything. Notorious Heels podcast. Let me see what he's saying right here. Let's see. Oh man. Oh yeah, of course, bro. Had to pop in. We just finished our review. We loved it. We loved tonight as opposed to last night. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, that's gonna be a running theme for sure. When I started out, like, oh man, night 2 completely blew night 1 out of the water. So I feel you on that, man. When I do my rankings of these matches, man, I think this is gonna be the first time where almost everything on night 1 is taking a back seat. Is gonna be the first half, and night 2 will probably be the second half. But maybe not so much because I did love Gunther versus Seth Rollins. But that'll be for that live stream. Staying focused on this live stream though. So basically every time in this match, Sami basically gets on the offense, the fans are booing. And that's something that I love. The audience reaction, like it was fine last night, but here, man, it just felt like the audience, and maybe man 0001, if you want to stay in the chat because you were part of that audience, it on TV, it sounded like, man, in night 2, fans were fully invested into these matches from top to bottom. Night 1, they sometimes felt a little quiet, and then they were getting riled up for certain parts. But this one, man, it just felt like y'all were just, man, y'all were into everything, and that definitely helps the excitement of the show. So yeah, with all that being said, every time in the match, yeah, Sami got that offense, fans booing. At one point outside the ring, Sami Zayn, he beats up Little Yachty, and this gets a massive amount of heat from fans. Like, man, they were booing this. They hated Sami for doing this to Little Yachty, man. That was crazy. Oh my gosh. And everything. And so from there, this gets a massive amount of heat from the fans. And yeah, the crowd heat for this match, well, like I said, it was insane. Fans were very much invested, from haluva kicks, blue thunder bombs, everything he threw at Trick. Trick is kicking out of it. And at one point, Trick Williams, he gets a great near fall on Sami after hitting his signature, the Trick kick. And the audience, they go wild for it. And that's what leads towards the finish. So Little Yachty gets back up and grabs Sami Zayn by the back of his head and, forces him down neck first into the ring apron. Typical WWE old school manager move. It's been around since the beginning of time for pro wrestling. And from here, now this is, he gets it. That's basically him getting his lick back, or as they like to say in pro wrestling, receipt, which they're now pulling on WWE TV. Your receipt, getting their receipt back. So Trick Williams, after this, he hits his knee finishing move, which I believe is called, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, the Trick shot. So he gets that, and this leads to him getting the 1, 2, 3 and becoming the new WWE United States champion. And the audience explodes with "whoop that Trick, whoop that Trick" chants. And man, it is just fantastic. It's a wonderful moment, and you start to see Trick Williams, he celebrates and embraces with his mother and father there. And even on the pre-show, he was talking about how his mother basically had got an injury and really worked hard to get herself, rehabbed herself as much as she could as possible to make sure she would be there, because she didn't want to miss her boy winning his big moment at WrestleMania. So it was just fantastic, wonderful moment. And at this point in the show, I'm like, yes, let's keep this youth movement going, man. And you know what, Sami Zayn, I think, is always great as a heel too. We've had him as a babyface for so long, for a while now, and seeing him work heel again, man, it was just fantastic stuff. I enjoyed it, man. This match was good. It was short. Once again, they were giving some of these matches short time, but once again, the match did what it needed to do, and it really made Trick Williams look like a big superstar. So glad to be seeing that. Let's see. We in the chat we got was it Priestone fame just followed. Thank you. I appreciate the subscribe. Andre Lee Meta just followed. Thank you. I appreciate all the love. Thank you all for coming out tonight and everything. All right, we're gonna get to our next match here. All right, so our next match was a street fight done at the last minute, apparently. The Demon Finn Balor versus Dominik Mysterio. All right, so it's at this point I mentioned I started to realize, even down to the entrances, they are better than night two than night one. Like, night one had, like I said, it was an okay show with some okay entrances. I thought Cody Rhodes had the most spectacular entrance of the night for night one, but night two, they were cooking. They all were cooking. These entrances, holy crap, man. Dominik Mysterio comes out on this giant throne, being accompanied by an army of luchadors who, let's be honest, might end up being world champions one day, because hey, don't forget, CM Punk was disguised as a mobster for John Cena's entrance 20 years ago at WrestleMania 22 in 2006. And then fast forward 20 years later, here in 2026, he's made it to WrestleMania 42 as the world champion in the main event. So you never know. It'll be really cool to see as we continue to progress through the years here, if somebody goes like, hey, I was that person right there in the luchador mask accompanying Dominik Mysterio. Now here I am in the WrestleMania main event. Hey man, love these stories when it happens. So Finn Balor comes out in the Demon entrance, which was always a great highlight to see, with the sick body paint. I know he pays a lady to do the body paint specifically for him. She obviously hasn't had to do much of it over the last few years. But yeah, it was so great. Love the entrance, you know. Dun, 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 dun. We know when the lights come out. Dun, dun, love it, man. And yeah, they had these streamers coming down, the way it covered Finn Balor, and then he threw it off, and it, like, part of it was hanging from the camera leading over to Finn Balor. It was fantastic stuff, man. So yeah, right off the bat in this match, I love the aggression that Finn Balor is showing right off the bat. I always want to see that whenever he becomes the demon persona, because one of my biggest things that I've always talked about with the demon Finn Balor is the entrance is cool, the makeup is cool, but it just felt like he really didn't wrestle too much different than his normal Finn Balor. And you know, God bless his soul, the late great Bray Wyatt. One of the things I always appreciated about Bray Wyatt, watching him as a fan, is when he was normal Bray Wyatt, he wrestled a certain way, and then when he would turn to the Fiend, he just turned into a whole complete different, more aggressive type of wrestler and everything, and it made you see the difference. Same thing with like Mick Foley, you know. Mick Foley had his main move set, but like when he became Cactus Jack, you know, he became a whole new level of violence, you know, and stuff like that. So you always really appreciate that type of stuff that was being told. So yeah, the story essentially is Dominik is trying to do his best to put the demon Finn Balor away, but nothing is working. And like I said, I enjoyed Finn Balor being aggressive in this match, because I always kind of felt when you know, I've already mentioned that, yeah, when he becomes like the you know, the different and everything. But yeah, this match pretty much is very hard hitting. A lot of chairs are used. Some of the highlights include Demon Finn Balor wearing out Dominik Mysterio with a steel chair. There's a pretty funny moment in the match too, where Dominik is taking a while to set up this table, and so he sets the table up, and the table falls over, and this gets a massive amount of boos from the fans. You could especially see in the front row. But then Finn Balor does his cool sit up, which is like his version of when the Undertaker sits up and everything. So that was really cool. And we kind of get like the finish. Yeah, when we there's a pretty when we get to the finish. Let me see, I lost my part in my notes. And we kind of get to the finish part of the match here where Finn Balor wraps a chair. Yeah, he kind of wraps the chair around Dominik's neck and does the whole drop kick into the corner thing that usually sets up the coup de grace. And it looked sick, man. It looked fantastic the way they shot it from a lower angle like that. From there, Finn Balor puts Dominik on the table and jumps off and does the coup de grace. Looks absolutely sick as he goes through the table and sort of basically lands feet first on Dominik, and he kind of goes to the side, so like he like really planted it in there for Dominik, his feet right into Dominik's stomach and stuff. And from there he gets the pinfall. 1, 2, 3. It's a big victory because this is actually the first time Finn Balor gets a win as the Demon, and almost, man, I don't remember, has it been like 6 or more years? It's been a while. And this is the first time the Demon has been booked by Triple H, so in his creative team, because the last couple of times we saw the Demon Finn Balor, he was booked by Vince McMahon. And you guys, oh my gosh, I've never been a fan of that finish where Finn Balor, they had like one of the production staff cut the ropes, and Finn Balor basically just drops under the weight of the turnbuckle, just snaps apart under the weight of Finn Balor, and Balor comes crashing down. Roman gets the win. I would have said, like, I understand having Roman be the first person to defeat the Demon, but I was like, just do it clean. Just have him go in there and spear win. Like, why do we need all that nonsense? And then as much as I enjoyed that Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania 39, it was. In fact, I think it's the best Hell in a Cell match ever in WrestleMania history. Man, I just didn't think Edge needed to go over. And granted, Edge ended up going to AEW, and I like Finn Balor could have really probably used that win a lot and stuff like that. So overall, it's nice to see the Demon Finn Balor, after all these years, finally get a big win and stuff like that. So it was really good to see how Triple H handled Finn Balor's first time in terms of the Demon, and how his creative team did that. So yeah, once again, this match was it was good stuff. I think it was kind of more or less kind of like what Jacob Fatu and Finn Balor, no, Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre was, which I thought was one of the better matches of the night, definitely. But yeah, this was good, what it needed to be, and gave us a fantastic moment. So for sure. All right, so we are going to get to our next match, the WWE Women's Championship match, Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley, and this was pretty much serving as the co-main event. This match right here, I thought a lot of people had issues with the build up and everything and stuff like that. This was a match right here that I had confidence in. I said, I think both these women are going to go out there and tear the house down and stuff like that. And honestly, I thought this match was really good. One of the high matches of WrestleMania for sure. I can imagine I'll be ranking this match highly. This is one of the best matches I've seen Jade Cargill had. I think she's come a long way since her AEW, and Rhea Ripley's fantastic. Doesn't match the bangers that she's had throughout some of the more recent years here at WrestleMania, but together though, I think Jade Cargill and Rhea Ripley still put up. This is still a strong match to put with Rhea Ripley's amazing resume that she's had. Honestly, I don't think Jade Cargill's had a bad resume of WrestleMania matches either. This is her third WrestleMania match, her first loss apparently, but we'll get to more of that. But yeah, this is good. So both women, they start off with an intense tie-up. In the first part of the match, Jade Cargill is pretty much dominating Rhea Ripley, shoulder tackling her down hard, doing scoop slams hard, reverse power slams right down. But Rhea Ripley, she ends up smiling and asking for Jade to bring it more, which leads to Jade putting her in a very nice, a very nice crossface. And certainly, I would say, like, this match is showing how far Jade Cargill has come since her AEW days. Like, Jade Cargill is doing so many different moves in this match that we've never seen her do and everything. So Rhea ends up powering out of it and getting Jade off her feet. The audience starts to become unglued, but Jade puts Rhea down, and then when she runs towards Rhea, Rhea is able to do a kick from the canvas up to her in the face, and is able to do a kick to her up, from the canvas up to Jade's face. But women, both women, they start exchanging ground and pound on the canvas and start exchanging blows from their knees to standing back up. Fans are booing Jade Cargill every time she gets a shot in on Rhea, and then they're cheering Rhea when she gets a shot in on Jade. Rhea Ripley, she gets an electric chair and slams Jade Cargill face first to the canvas for a very good near fall. And from there, Rhea Ripley goes for the riptide, but Jade Cargill reverses it into a hip toss and then does a nice spine buster and even does Rhea Ripley's own pin, which I always used to call Rhea Ripley's inserting the dominance pin or something like that. Jade Cargill from there, she goes for a power bomb and Rhea Ripley reverses it into a Hurricane Rana. And then Rhea Ripley even at one point reverses the Jaded into a pin that Jade Cargill kicks out of there. It's after this we get the shenanigans where Michin and B-Fab go ahead and they interfere. And then from there, Jade Cargill, she pulls off what I think was a Michinoku driver. Shout out to Taka Michinoku. But Rhea Ripley also kicks out at another great near fall. So Jade Cargill, Jade Cargill is just showing a lot of different moves at this point in the match that she hasn't been showing, as I was saying. So yeah, I was very impressed with Jade in this match. From here, Io Sky music hits. Yeah, because B-Fab, I forgot to mention the shenanigans start. B-Fab and Michin come out and they're trying to do distractions and stuff like that. From here, Io Sky's music hits as she comes out running down the aisle and she takes out both B-Fab and Michin. And at this point, it became clear Michin is not going to be wrestling. I mean, Io Sky is not going to be wrestling in this match. She's in her regular clothes, but yeah, she comes running down. And in fact, how she ends up taking them out is she jumps, and this is a really good spot. The ending sequence of this match was fantastic. So Io Sky gets on the top of the rope to go for a moonsault, and Jade Cargill runs towards her. So right when Io does the moonsault and is like halfway in the air, Jade Cargill barely just misses and is trying to get the big boot off on Io Sky, but she ends up basically moonsaulting off the top of the rope, and she ends up crashing down, taking out B-Fab and Michin. And then from there, Rhea Ripley, she gets from behind Jade Cargill, turns up right behind Jade Cargill, and Rhea goes for the riptide, but Jade Cargill escapes and goes for the Jaded again. But just before she can land it, this is really cool. This is clean. This is so smooth. When Jade Cargill goes for the Jaded, right as she's about to land the Jaded, Rhea Ripley is able in midair, basically just is able to smoothly transition underneath Jade Cargill's legs and come up right behind her and perfectly grab her arm and turn it into the riptide and plants her down and scores the 1-2-3 to become a 4-time women's world champion. I tried my best to explain it. It doesn't do it justice. Go out of your way to see the finish of this match. It is spectacular. It is one of the coolest things. And even Rhea Ripley was explaining how a lot of people think, just because she's big and she does all these power moves, is that, hey, she can do some sneaky stuff and everything and show her really athletic and smooth, quick side and stuff. And I'm like, man, the sequence was fantastic. That's going to be an all-time great WrestleMania finish. Yeah, man, I thought these women did their thing. Absolutely. And she celebrates with Io Sky in the ring. They both embrace and tell each other that they love them. They love each other, and they go outside the ring. It's interesting to see a year past. It was Io Sky defeating Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley and winning the world title. And this year, she didn't even get a match on WrestleMania. Man, I thought with as much time as they had for this show, it definitely could have fit Io Sky versus Io Sky versus Asuka on there. But obviously with what I'm going to be talking about next, I guess they wanted to do that was more important, which I get it because it involves John Cena. But this match, absolutely great. Hats off to both women. Definitely one of Jade Cargill's best matches ever. And yeah, her and Rhea basically absolutely, like I said, they delivered. Now this match is one that I really wonder if Bianca Belair's pregnancy changed the entire trajectory of this match, because I actually thought that Jade Cargill was going to win. I thought that's why they introduced B-Fab and Michin as, you know, WWE's version of the baddies, just like she had the AEW baddies, you know, the two women. I think it was like Kiera Hogan and it was like Kiera Hogan and Red Velvet. They kept losing over and over to Jade, and then they just had the whole idea, well, if you can't beat her, join her. And then they were her baddies and basically her hench women and did everything. That's exactly what they kind of same story they told here in WWE with B-Fab and Michin. And I thought, okay, they're being introduced as the plot device for the match. I'm thinking, okay, they're going to get interfere so that way Jade Cargill retains the championship and Rhea Ripley still looks strong in defeat. But that's not what they did here. I thought they wanted to maybe keep the title on Jade Cargill until Bianca Belair comes back. But I think once it was clear that Bianca Belair is pregnant, it's probably going to be another year before we see her and everything. And who knows how long even after that, because like I said in night one review, Alexa Bliss, I think she was gone almost like 2 years after giving birth and stuff. So who knows? And I'm thinking they figured, well, you know, with Naomi out and Bianca out, Naomi just, you know, of course gave birth as well, so much congratulations to her and Jimmy Uso. I don't know where they're going to go with Jade Cargill after this, so it'll be interesting, especially with her, you know, with her whole baddie faction and stuff, you know, because there she Rhea Ripley overcame the odds, and yeah, but shout out to Rhea Ripley, because this last year I think really has gone a long way to show Rhea Ripley she has stayed over AF, and it just goes to show you how popular Rhea Ripley is and that her star power cannot be denied. And they had to put the women's world title back on her because I think at this point she is the woman to lead this division. She is the top woman, and as WWE gets ready to build up some new women like Sol Ruka, if Blake Monroe comes to the main roster, Lash Legend, you know, you have Rhea Ripley to be kind of that standard and everything that they can hopefully build up and everything, because it's going to probably be another long while before we eventually get the long-awaited Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley match. So I thought overall, yeah, that was that it was a good move to put Rhea Ripley. She's still over. She's one of the most over people on the roster, not just women or men. You hear the pop she gets when she comes out. Yeah, Rhea Ripley is that over. So I'm glad to see her become the women's world champion. And I eventually think this is going to lead to her finally defeating Io Sky, the woman that she has not been able to have an answer for. The thing I will also say before I move on to the next match when it comes to Jade Cargill, I'm disappointed with how WWE handled her title reign. She had a lengthy championship reign from what I think almost like, when did she win that title? In either like September or October last year, and held it all the way to April. Like I think she said it was like a 169-day reign as champion, and she only had 2 title defenses. She didn't even make her. She won that. Think about it. She won that back in the fall of 2025 and didn't even defend the title in the storylines until 2026, early 2026. And then when you look at it from there, she didn't even defend it after that until WrestleMania. Like, wow. Like, it would have been nice to have her at least defend that title once every month and rack up some wins. Like, you didn't get much. Her title was just, she looked the part. She absolutely did. And I thought her promos were great, but it was a lot of her just chasing B-Fab and Michin until eventually they just joined her. And she got I thought the stuff with Jordan Grace was good. Then she beat her, and then we got to Rhea, and that was it. Like, that's another reason I'm like, maybe they're going to want to also actually rank up some championship defenses, but this kind of went the same direction a lot of what Io Sky went. This is a lot of what they did with Io Sky last year when she won the world title. So hopefully they do more with Rhea Ripley. I hope that Rhea Ripley actually is going to be defending the title more, and we're not just going to get a repeat of how WWE handled Jade Cargill and Io Sky, because when Tiffany Stratton was champion, she was projected as a big defending champion. So yeah, we'll see where they go from here and all that stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say as far as this match is concerned. We'll go on to the next segment. Alrighty, so if you were probably wondering why Io Sky, VS Asuka, and other favorites like Carmelo Hayes, why there was no time to put them on this show, in addition to all the ads that WWE was running and the commercials, it's because of this segment here, most likely, I'm guessing. So John Cena basically comes out to announce that the attendance for night 2 was 55,255. And then says that the combined over total tickets, because they're combining the same people that paid for both nights, I guess, is 106,072 for both nights in attendance combined. So yeah, I think hopefully WWE learns their lesson about overcharging these tickets and stuff like that, and they'll be able to fill out the stadiums much more better. So we'll see how that goes and everything like that. All right, and then from there, as John Cena says, this concludes his night, and how honored he was at WrestleMania host. He's interrupted by The Miz and Kit Wilson. I don't know if he's still in the chat or not, but shout out to Notorious Heels podcast. I know they are both big John Cena fans and everything, so I'm pretty sure they enjoyed seeing John Cena, the new suit wearing John Cena that we'll be seeing for now on whenever he makes appearances since he's retired. But yeah, John Cena, he shakes hands with The Miz, but doesn't know who Kit Wilson is. And before Kit Wilson can say who he is, Danhausen comes out with I believe the proper term nowadays, I believe, is little people. But Michael Cole flat out calls them midgets, which is something I never thought I would be hearing WWE ever say with today's landscape in the world. So I'm like, oh wow, okay. So I'm like, I did not think WWE was going to actually drop that word, but yeah, the little people for the Danhausen that are Danhausens, the little people Danhausens, they come out, and Danhausen is happy to meet John Cena. He shakes his hand, but The Miz tries to put a stop to it, saying that Danhausen is making a mockery as he's in the ring with two goats, being him and John Cena, and one soon-to-be goat and Kid Wilson, which I actually do think, I think Kid Wilson has some really great potential to go far. And little Danhausen, then they punch Kit Wilson in the balls, and then they start jumping them, and then The Miz starts beating up the little Danhausens and throwing them out, and from there, Danhausen then punched The Miz in the balls, and just like one of the little Danhausens did, yeah, that's because that's what they did to the little Danhausen did to the Kit Wilson, and then he delivers his own 5-knuckle shuffle, and the little Danhausens, they carry out The Miz. This is ridiculous. They carry out The Miz, and Miz is like laid out as if he's being sacrificed or something. And from here, a smoke bomb goes off in the middle of the ring, but I guess it malfunctioned, and it was probably intentionally malfunctioned, and Danhausen just runs out from the smoke cloud and goes under the ring, and the mini Danhausens, they just drop The Miz right there on the middle of the aisleway, and they go running underneath the ring there. And John Cena then announces, saying that, hey, he loves the retirement life, and says it's now time for the main event. Oh man. I mean, yeah, listen, John Cena is a legend, and so whenever WWE can still utilize him, even post retirement, because he is an ambassador for the company, yeah, it makes sense. And like I said, it was interesting to see John Cena thought trying to run like he usually does, but he's in a suit now, and you know, instead of his regular short shirt and shorts and stuff. So I don't blame them for using John Cena, but yeah, I think a lot of people are going to look at this and be like, this is why we couldn't get Io Sky vs Asuka, and it's not even, you couldn't even fit this segment on there. They have so many advertisements and all that stuff. I guess it's one of those things they couldn't and everything. You know, I thought because he was there and he lives I thought because he was there and he lives, I thought at some point we're gonna get Stone Cold Steve Austin, as my shirt shows. I thought we were gonna get him coming out with on the ATV machine and stuff, and hopefully be a lot more careful this time around, and things like that, because I know he said it was like really hard to control that version of it, and I thought maybe he's gonna come out and do a stunner and everything, but no, they kept Stone Cold Steve Austin off of this show and everything. So yeah, it is what it is there, and yeah, but I think a lot of people are gonna look at this and it just the time, like you they could have fit so much more on this show. There are definitely wrestlers and matches that could have been put on this show, and even what they did, they limited the time so much, even on night 2. So it's like, wow, okay. Well, one thing that didn't get its time limited, and by the way, it was great to see John Cena again utilized in this manner and everything. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad him and Danhausen got a good segment. I'm glad Danhausen got a WrestleMania moment, because I think WWE has utilized him far better than AEW, and it shows with the merchandise sales. But yes, talking about something that didn't get its time cut is this match coming up here. So, oh man, let's get to this main event, but let me take a little break right quick. All right, it is now time for the main event of the evening and the weekend, the WWE World Championship match, the OTC Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. Man, so basically right here, CM Punk, well, we have actually first Roman Reigns. He comes out in this big orchestra type entrance as images of the Samoan dynasty, basically shows from, you know, the Anoa'i family. And interesting enough, Roman Reigns, he comes out to his head of the table music and not his I Am Greatness music. So it's kind of like Roman Reigns going back to basics here. I like both versions of the theme song. I Am Greatness is a more heroic sounding version, but Head of the Table is that more edgy sounding version and stuff. So it's cool to see him come out to that again. So yeah, and Roman Reigns looks in tremendous shape as he's walking down to the ring. And there was a great shot where they did a close up of Roman's face with where you could see someone behind him had the zebra characters that Roman and CM Punk, I believe, both voiced, and was the movie called Zootopia, I think it was called, and everything. I didn't really follow or seen the movie, but I think that's what it's called. Roman is very much over as the fans are out, got their ones in the air, myself included, and everything. And then from Roman's it's made mention that this is Roman Reigns' 11th WrestleMania main event, with Hulk Hogan having the second most at number 8. And so that was really, really cool and stuff like that. One moment, take a little quick intermission here, and we'll get back to the match. All right, I am finally back. Sorry guys, allergies started messing up and I'm like, oh man. Huh. But we're gonna go ahead and get through the rest of this review. So I appreciate y'all's patience. They were waiting here. So getting back to where we left off here. Yeah, Missouri Cartere, the beginning by Alpha plays during the or hold on, let me make sure I got all this right. Okay, I think I'm back for good now. Oh man, allergies. Okay, so basically, getting back where we left off. Misiri Kartari, The Beginning by Alpha, plays during a really cool video package as it shows off CM Punk's career highlights, and a drone is flying all around Vegas, eventually zooming in on the top of Legend Stadium with CM Punk sitting cross-legged right on the top of the roof. So I thought that was really cool, and for long-time CM Punk fans, because I started watching him back in when he first came to WWE's version of ECW. So this song apparently predates that. So if you've been following CM Punk on the independent scene far before WWE, then you were very familiar with this theme song and everything. From here, when he walks out to the stadium, he yells, "It's clobbering time!" and Cult of Personality starts playing with the entire audience singing it. So far, the reaction is sounding very mixed during this, during the ring introduction. So I was very much noticing, like, you kind of wonder what was going to be the reaction, because Roman and CM Punk are very much seen as basically being baby faces. All right, so from here at first, Roman, let's see what we got here. Oh my gosh, one moment, guys. Allergies are still trying to mess up with me again. Sorry guys, that is allergies are still trying to come up with me on here. First time I've ever had this stream, but we're gonna power through and get through with this. So the yeah, after the ring introductions, the bell rings and both men come face to face, trash talking each other. At first, CM Punk starts getting the better of Roman in the early exchange. Both men go from smiles to Roman getting more intense, shoving Punk. Roman knocks down CM Punk just like Punk knocked him down previously, and both are talking trash and slapping one another. Roman eventually is able to do the leapfrog and turns it into and yeah, he does a leapfrog and turn into a CM Punk, says for a counter. Yeah, he does leapfrog over the counter for CM Punk. The match starts getting more and more intense as both men battle to the outside. CM Punk takes a nasty spill to the outside when he gets to the announce table to start gloating and everything like that and stuff like that. I think he was like flexing. No, 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 no. Yeah, he takes an ousting, but that's later in the match. But yeah, Roman Reigns gets up and slams him off the table back first to the mat. Yeah, that was devastating. The way he like threw him right off the announce table, it was like a sickening thud, like boom. I'm like, oh man. Yeah, CM Punk definitely was taking a lot of risks in this match given his age and injury history. But yeah, there you go. You had it going right there and things like that and that nature. All right, and then um, from there, after that sickening thud, Roman Reigns starts talking trash, telling him, "Stay down again. Say that again to me, you bitch." There's a lot of Twitter line. This ain't a promo class, son, and something along those lines. Yeah, Roman was just great at doing all the trash talk. So Roman Reigns, he then delivers a huge smack to CM Punk when he's halfway outside the ring ropes, pulls him into the ring, and then clobbers him with the corner clotheslines. And but CM Punk, he makes a comeback eventually, getting rolled down. Yeah, he gets back up and he's able to get Roman Reigns down with the bulldog and does the go to sleep. But Roman is able to counter out of it with elbows and slams him shoulder first into the corner of the turnbuckle post, and then hits the Superman punch for a near fall. Now, there's a pretty cool moment here where CM Punk is down and Roman Reigns goes for the ooh, ah, and when Roman is like back, like, ah, you see CM Punk comes out of nowhere and boom, just knees Roman right in the face of that running turnbuckle, that running knee that he does into the side and everything. That was like, man, that was really cool. And then from there, CM Punk ends up going ahead and doing another a running knee to Roman's face. So I don't think we've ever seen that before. So that was something really cool to see in a Roman Reigns match, a new spot like that. So from here, CM Punk, he knocks Roman Reigns down a few times with the clothesline as he's holding Roman's other arm and throws him out of the ring, and then does a suicide dive and then gets on the announce table with his knee on Roman's chest, and that's where he starts doing the whole flexing and stuff like that. The dude from here, you're getting dueling chants. Let's go Roman, let's go Punk, let's go Roman, let's go Punk. Right? So Roman Reigns is laid out on the table, and CM Punk takes a long time attempting to do a jumping flying elbow, similar to what he did at WrestleMania 29 against The Undertaker, which had me fearing for CM Punk. Like I said, given his age and injury history, I'm like, oh, this is not 2013 anymore. I'm like, I don't know how this was gonna go. And once Roman got involved, I'm like, oh, okay, they're probably not going to yeah, once Roman Reigns gets involved, I'm like, okay, they're probably not going to do that spot. Because before he can even do the jumping elbow, Roman Reigns comes up and knocks him down on top of the turnbuckle, where it looks like his head hits the top of the turnbuckle post. From here, Roman eventually gets CM Punk's leg caught in the ring, in the ropes, and leaving him hanging. And he delivers about two or three consecutive Superman punches, while basically CM Punk is completely just hanging down there in the back, hanging, by his leg. And CM Punk is bleeding at this point. It looks like either from the nose or the mouth. And CM Punk eventually becomes free. But Roman Reigns, he starts trash talking the camera and clears the announcement. Oh yeah, before that, I think before he becomes free, CM Punk, this is a part of the match where Roman should have probably got disqualified, but the referee decided to be lenient and have some leniency and let him go ahead and do it. So Roman takes up the steel stairs while CM Punk is hanging and smashes into CM Punk's face and stuff. So it's like, oh, okay, so they're not gonna disqualify him. And I guess, who wants to see the main event of WrestleMania in a disqualification and stuff like that? So I guess that makes sense. And that's where, yeah, CM Punk is like bleeding from the nose and the mouth. All right. So, and then from there, CM Punk eventually, yeah, he becomes free. Roman starts trash talking to the camera and he clears the announce table. From here, CM Punk is definitely busted open from the forehead now. And Roman Reigns, he then does a massive throwing power bomb to CM Punk and breaks through the announce table. CM Punk gets sent flying through that announce table, similar to what he did during the build up to this. From here, Roman Reigns throws CM Punk, bloodied and battered mess, into the ring and does the warrior cry, where he goes, ooh, ah, and into and from the ring, and from there he goes for the spear, but CM Punk catches him with the go to sleep, but only gets a near fall. Fans are very much into the match at this point. I'm on the edge of my seat, even myself. I'm like, this main event is so much better than night one's main event. So eventually from here, Roman Reigns is able to land the spear on CM Punk, but CM Punk kicks out at 2 for another great near fall that leaves Roman in disbelief, and the fans are chanting, "This is awesome." From here, Roman just loses it. From here, he starts bashing CM Punk's face into the mat, basically just multiple times, banging his head like up and down in the mat. Man, it's like, yeah, Roman was going crazy, and then after that, Roman kind of calmed himself down. And it's like, no, I gotta get into it. I gotta be cool about this. I gotta keep cool, keep my head cool in the game and stuff. Like I said, Roman Reigns, just such a master storyteller when it comes to the trash talk in the ring and everything. All right, so as Roman Reigns picks up CM Punk mocks the chef's kiss. Yeah, no, it mocks the chef. I think my auto correct must have done something wrong there. CM Punk mocks Roman Reigns, but Roman picks him up to try and do the go to sleep and stuff like that. Yeah, I think CM Punk was mocking Roman Reigns ooh ah chant or something at this point. I'm not sure what happened in my transcription there for my notes, but yeah, from there, Roman, yeah, picks him up and tries to do the go to sleep. However, just before he can land his knees, CM Punk, yeah, Roman is the one. Yeah, he tried to mock CM Punk's go to sleep taunt, tries to do the go to sleep to him, and CM Punk ends up grabbing Roman Reigns by the knee, and yeah, he lands it on his yeah, he lands on his feet, grabs Roman by the leg and knocks him down with a kick for another near fall. I knew this was going to end well. I knew this wasn't going to end well because historically speaking, as I've always mentioned, when it comes to these things, WWE has shown many times in their storytelling, you'll always have someone try to mock their opponent's finisher move and stuff, and it doesn't end up well for them, just like John Cena and The Rock at WrestleMania 28. So, sure enough, from here, CM Punk then starts going for Roman Reigns' Superman punch, and he actually does land it, but gets a near fall. CM Punk then starts getting mad, and he starts doing the ground and pounding on Roman Reigns, and CM Punk, he then takes the Ulafala off of the Ulafala off from a fan nearby that I guess Roman Reigns may have gave to somebody, or maybe the fan who was sitting, it was a fan sitting next to UFC Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier, and I'm guessing maybe just whatever was going on there, he was a fan that may have agreed to this spot for a while back. All right, and then so as he's agreeing to that, so basically after that, CM Punk does Roman Reigns Warrior Cry, ooh ah, the ooh ah with the Ulafala on, and he goes for the spear, only only to get caught in a guillotine, which I thought was great because he looked like he nailed Roman Reigns with that spear, but Roman caught him just in time and put him in the guillotine. And so from here, CM Punk, he escapes, eventually knocks Roman down and throws off the Ulafala and puts Roman Reigns in the Anaconda Vice. But CM Punk is able to do a handstand out of it and escape and goes for a sharpshooter. But before he could put the sharpshooter on, Roman kicks CM Punk, causing CM Punk to get to fall down right back into the guillotine. But before CM Punk can go to sleep, literally in the guillotine, he does another handstand into pinfall. So he kind of like bridges over Roman Reigns, and this causes Roman Reigns to break the submission. Both men from here get up and do a double clothesline, and the fans give them all a standing ovation. I was giving them a standing ovation right here watching the match because I was like, man, this is fantastic. All right, and then from there, both men, yeah, from there, the exchange and blows is very much mixed reaction that we're getting here with cheers and boos both times as they clobber each other. As both exchanging blows, CM Punk gets a near fall and then goes for a headbutt, but then goes down to sell with Roman because, of course, as they always say, Samoans, they have very hard heads and things like that. So Roman Reigns, he takes off his tape and throws it, or no, CM Punk takes off his tape and he throws it at Roman Reigns, and the referee gets distracted by this, and while the referee basically picks up the tape to go throw it out of the ring, CM Punk, he then basically takes a play out of Roman Reigns' old page and gives Roman the low blow. So at this point, CM Punk is becoming very desperate. Now, technically, when you think about it, earlier in the match, Roman Reigns was the first one to use a weapon that would have got himself disqualified, and so maybe CM Punk figured in the match with the psychology here, well, okay, if you're going to use your steel steps against me or something which would be disqualification, then I'm going to go ahead and do a low blow. But he did it when the referee wasn't looking, so it makes you wonder there in terms of that. So then from here and everything, guys, sorry too, I apologize that I keep muting and everything because my allergies are acting up and stuff, and I don't want to hear you guys to hear all that. But continuing powering through for this match, eventually CM Punk gets Roman Reigns back onto the announce table, and CM Punk is able to deliver the flying clothesline from the top rope to Roman Reigns through the announce table, and it looks like CM Punk was able to land it perfectly fine. So that was good. This is a classic move that he did back at WrestleMania 29 against The Undertaker. So, I mean, at this age and stage, CM Punk still being able to pull that off, he was really going all out, all the stops out for this match. All right, so then from here, CM Punk, he drags Roman Reigns back in the ring and does the GTS. Roman's body goes into the ring ropes and falls back onto CM Punk's shoulders. And CM Punk then goes up for another GPS, but collapses, leaving both men to fall to the canvas from exhaustion of the match, for which this story is actually a callback to how CM Punk won against Gunther when he won the world title back last August. So that was a really nice, cool callback where I say it was really making it look like, oh man, is CM Punk gonna get it here and everything? Is he gonna lose and things of that nature? Or I should say, if this is going to look like it's Roman Reigns going to lose from here. So from there, after that spot, CM Punk gets up and Roman Reigns nails the spear on CM Punk. And CM Punk is pretty much out on his knees and starts like smacking around at Roman Reigns. He's got very little energy left, and he's barely got much left himself. But Roman, he starts, getting focused, trash talking some more. And Roman then goes for a second spear that puts CM Punk down for the 1, 2, 3, and Roman Reigns wins the World Heavyweight Championship, becoming a 7-time world champion. This is his first time winning the WWE, this version of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, but he's an overall 7-time world champion now, concluding what I thought was an absolute epic main event. My gosh, amazing. Wow. So Roman Reigns, he celebrates in the ring, he celebrates in the ring and in ring and near ringside, with all his kids and his wife, and he gets back in the ring. And if you look behind him in the background as Roman goes into the ring, you can see actually CM Punk just like basically dramatically falls out, and the referee just quickly runs over to check on him and everything. And I'm assuming that was just selling him in a dramatic way, just him selling in a dramatic way. From there, Roman Reigns is in the middle of the ring and raises the Ulafala in the WWE World Championship as the hard camera pans out, showing all the fans behind him, concluding WWE WrestleMania 42. Fantastic stuff. Just absolute fantastic stuff. What a main event. You know what? When I do my ranking of the matches, don't be surprised to see this in an extremely high spot, because wow, this was the longest match of the entire card. I think like over 30 minutes and stuff like this. Man, just like I said, it was phenomenal. I love this match. Everything about it. And so looking at this match here, uh overall, man, like this match, I have so much high praise for this match. I think legitimately this has to go down as one of Roman Reigns' top 3 WrestleMania matches of all time. It really does, because I love those 2 matches with Cody Rhodes, and eventually I'm thinking about doing a live stream one of these days where I rank all of Roman Reigns matches. So definitely expect this one to be high on the list whenever that time comes. And for CM Punk, this probably has to be among his top 2 greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. I got to put it right up there with the Undertaker match that he had at WrestleMania 29. This was phenomenal, and that's the thing. CM Punk to come back at this stage of his career, at his age, his injury history, and the fact that this man has put out so many bangers in WWE, like the series of matches with Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, the Finn Balor matches. Like, man, Seth freaking Rollins. Yeah, what he's had with Seth freaking Rollins there, but CM Punk, man. And then this match with Roman, this was fantastic, and this was one of the dream matches that I wanted to see when it came out to it. Roman Reigns and CM Punk, like that. I was like, man, this is gonna be awesome, and it just really goes to show you how far Roman Reigns has come since CM Punk, had left. The story buildup was kind of up and down as far as I thought about it. It had its highs and it had its low points, and it was kind of up and back and forth. But these 2 guys absolutely delivered. Tremendous work in the ring, showed why they are 2 of the all-time greats and things of that nature and stuff. And this goes back to what I was saying about Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, is that when it came to them, man, when it came to Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, or Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, like it didn't matter who won because both guys were established. And going into this match, I was like, I'm a big fan of both of these guys. I think they're both all time greats. It didn't matter because I'm like Roman Reigns, he's probably going to be part time again, but more about that coming up here. Roman Reigns, if he goes off and he becomes a champion, again, he's already established. Nothing's going to top his 1300 plus day reign as champion, but I'm like, it's just more established for Roman Reigns there. And then I'm like, CM Punk, he's established too and everything. And I'll say this actually too about CM Punk, why I'm so much at peace when it comes to CM Punk. I thought the way Triple H and his creative team booked CM Punk as world champion here was much better than that 400 plus day reign he had when Vince McMahon had booked him as world champion. Because in that one, they were barely using him as the main event. You had John Laurinaitis and John Cena main eventing over CM Punk. Yeah, come on now. And here we got to see CM Punk have his fair share of main events. Yeah, I thought this reign right here was strong. CM Punk looked absolutely strong as world champion, since the fall when he beat Jey Uso, going all the way up here to WrestleMania. Absolutely. I thought this certainly was better than the last time he had this a lengthy world title reign, going back to the early 20 teens. So yeah, I mean, as a CM Punk fan, I was pleased. I was, I was very pleased with it. I'm glad to see CM Punk be able to come back and get this type of reign as world champion, get this second WrestleMania main event. So that was really good to see. And another thing too, that's one of the reasons why I can look back and be like, yeah, if CM Punk, if it was over for CM Punk and he loses the world title from here, I'm like, man, that was an incredible run, and yeah, CM Punk definitely has further really cemented his legacy in WWE and professional wrestling. And then I was like, even if he wins, and I'm like, okay, Roman Reigns, he's super far established, especially if he's going to be part time moving forward. Then I'm like, it makes sense to have CM Punk go ahead and continue reigning. So I'm like, it could have gone either way, but the win or losses, make no mistake about it, the wins or losses for both these guys, whoever came out the win, it certainly wouldn't have mattered in the sense that it doesn't hurt neither of them because they're so established. And that was the thing about the main event here. So yeah, I just thought it was fantastic, and both guys absolutely delivered. And shout out to man 0001 in the chat, says Punk should have won. He hasn't had a WrestleMania win since 2012. Well, yeah, he did spend like a decade away from WWE. Yeah, that's when he beat Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 28. But you know what? I'm thinking he can get a WrestleMania win next year and everything. But you know what? Still, and man, 0001, I know you're a big fan of CM Punk, obviously, too. We both are Chicago natives for CM Punk and everything. But I'm just really glad CM Punk got not one, but two main events. There was a time where just the thought of even getting a CM Punk main event seemed far fetched when he was in WWE, and then when he left for so long and was in AEW, man, like I was thinking, like, is CM Punk gonna even ever get that moment at WrestleMania and stuff? Ever gonna be able to main event and become world champions? Like who knew? And the fact that he was able to come back and get it, and even then, it looked like they were gonna finally give it to him at WrestleMania, a bit probably near WrestleMania 40, and then man, look at that. He yeah, at WrestleMania 40, then it's like dang, he got injured. So it has been a long journey, and I'm just really proud as a CM Punk fan to be able to look back and know that, man, CM Punk, our Chicago native, our boy, our long time fans, we've been able to see him, get those WrestleMania main events too. So, and his first one-on-one main event at WrestleMania. So he's closed night 7, Saturday and Sunday. Like Roman Reigns, he's closed both nights. So, yeah, that was really awesome to see. But yeah, overall, like I said, this is a fantastic match. Like this is going to be a memorable match that will be remembered for years to come. And I'm just going to talk about some of the post show here too. As the consequences of this match looks like they're going to be directly falling with what is coming and stuff like that. So what we ended up getting on the post show, basically, some of the things I got down here is Oba Femi is asked what's next, and he flat out calls out Roman Reigns and says the OTC can come get it. Honestly, another reason why I think they put the title on Roman Reigns is because, and I was kind of thinking about this going into the show. One, I think because also Cody and Roman Reigns are both in the Street Fighter movie, and so they want that idea of both of them being world champions in there. I believe that movie's due to come out in October and all that stuff and everything. So that's probably another reason why they're doing that. And from here, Roman shows, what did Roman yeah, and then from there, another reason why they put Oba Femi over so big tonight, And with them doing such a big job of putting him over tonight, you have to believe that the next direction would be Roman Reigns versus Oba Femi, because Roman Reigns is kind of like now what The Rock was in 2002 at SummerSlam against Brock Lesnar. You could do Oba Femi as now that new Brock Lesnar type. So I'm like, oh, okay. And Roman Reigns basically was saying on the post show that Oba did a big thing tonight by beating Brock Lesnar, but he beat Brock many times. So he's like, he wants to see what Oba can do this summer, and then we come back to him, which is kind of funny too, because the thing is, Roman Reigns, though he's beaten Brock Lesnar majority of the times that they've wrestled, it is basically Roman Reigns is Roman Reigns. He never got a clean win over Brock Lesnar. It was either Braun Strowman was out there basically with the briefcase and it was serving as a distraction, or they had the Usos constantly getting interfere, or Roman basically would, when the referee wasn't looking, would do the low blow and beat Brock and stuff. And especially their last match, man, they took Roman and everything under the sun for Roman to finally beat Brock with his family and Paul get involved and all that stuff. So that could be something that could be used in the storyline with Oba Femi, basically, where he can be like, well, I beat Brock Lesnar one-on-one without any interference, any outside, any dirty tactics, outside interference or dirty tactics. It was just me, my strength, face-to-face with Brock, and I beat him in the middle of the ring. So I think that would be fantastic. So I'm looking forward. This could be what they are setting up as one of the big main events for SummerSlam. So yeah, purely speaking from a story standpoint, Roman, he never got that clean win over Brock Lesnar, but Oba did. And that, I think, would make a big statement for sure. Definitely. So overall, when it comes to WrestleMania Sunday, yeah, it blew WrestleMania 42 night one Saturday out of the park, out of the water, did a whole big punt kick to it, because man, this was fantastic. I would say overall it was kind of like I guess you could kind of say a half decent WrestleMania overall when you think of WrestleMania 42, because night one, it was decent, it was all right, and WrestleMania night one was like decent and okay, but night two, that was fantastic. That was really great stuff. And so we get a case where we kind of had like half the show for the first night was is all right, and then the next show was like, man, it was great. Had night one match what night two was, we could be talking about one of the all-time great WrestleManias here, but unfortunately it is what it is. But overall, I did have fun with the show. Like I said, I didn't think WrestleMania 42 was bad. It just was very lopsided in terms of its great moments and its low moments and stuff like that. Alrighty, so now that I'm done talking about WrestleMania, we're gonna go ahead into the chat and everything. All right, so let's see, going through the chat here. All right, so going down the line here, let's see, man, 0001. Yeah, he said he should have won since 2012. Shank says, bro, opinion on Paige. And I see, looks like you were trying to get my attention and everything. I just wanted to finish up though, what I had to say, because I take all these topics and I cut them up into repurposed clips, individual video clips and stuff. So I didn't want it to be where it's distracting for whatever audience sees it in terms of shorts and long form videos. So this is what this time is being saved for on the chats. But yeah, I saw your messages there, Shanks. Yo, bro, anyone? Yeah, I'm here. So to answer your question, Shanks, what was my opinion on Paige? I got the night one review up if you want to check it out fully, but overall, in short, I thought it was fantastic. It was a great emotional moment to see Paige get back in the WWE when she was once told she'll never be able to wrestle again. I'm glad she's back to basically, turn it up in the ring with her generation of women that came up with her that she unfortunately was not able to have those banger matches with, because she had got injured, the career ending injury at the time, when she was when a lot of those women started coming to the main roster. And then of course so many of the newer generation women have come up. So yeah, I'm definitely am glad that Paige is back for sure. The man 0001 says he hadn't had a WrestleMania win since 2009 before that. Um, yeah, so 2009 was when he won the Money in the Bank, and then he finally won with the WWE Championship at WrestleMania and stuff. Yeah, like I said though, it doesn't take away anything less. CM Punk still has had a wonderful WWE career overall, and I think a lot of this run that he's having now, I think is kind of made up for some of that stuff in his older run. You think of someone like Asuka, who has never gotten never gotten a win at WrestleMania. She wasn't even put on the WrestleMania card this year. Still one of the greatest, most decorated women in WWE history of all time. So, yeah, it would be nice to see CM Punk get another win for sure. But you know what? Still, I think an amazing career. So for sure, and all that stuff and everything. So, yeah, like I said, I'm still just happy that Roman Reigns and CM Punk put on an absolute banger of a WrestleMania main event, man. So I'm fans of both of them, so I'm glad to see it and everything. All right, let me go ahead and check how the streams were doing. So 84 of you checked out today in terms of the horizontal live stream and stuff like that. Very cool. And then 174 of you checked out the vertical live stream. So really appreciate that and everything. Yeah, so yeah, thank you guys for joining there and stuff like that. And it's not going to stop. I'm coming back with another review. Hey, thank you by the way, thank you everybody for coming over to the chat and all that stuff and everything. But yeah, I'm going to be back now. It is time, as I do per tradition. I will be ranking all 13 matches of WrestleMania 42. So we're going to see where it goes from bottom and from least to best. Have a very good suspicion based on the way the weekend played out. Expect the very first half of the list to probably be mostly night one, and the second half of the list, as we get to the top best of the best, it'll be mostly probably night two. So until then, guys, I'll be back either later today or tomorrow with that ranking review for WrestleMania. So until next time, make sure to take care. You can follow and like on my social media accounts, both in the description and pinned comment below. Until next time, guys, take care.